Tight end, not Braden or Davis. Those guys are elite. You go all over the country, you can't find two better guys than those two guys. But I wanted to see Sage and Jay and Brenningstool, take another step. And man, they're all in. Jay 261. Man, he looks amazing. He looks amazing. He's one of those guys again coming in, great physical attributes, but had a lot to learn on how to use it and how to take care of it. And you want to be 285 and work your way to tackle, or do you want to learn how to take care of your body and be able to have elite performance and buy into the nutrition side of it and be a great tight end? And so it's just been so cool to see him. Same thing. He's just a very mature guy. He's going on his third year now, and he's made big strides from us. He looks great. There ain't nobody on this team in better condition than Jay Lay. And then Sage Ennis, 250 pounds, and from where he started when he got here and what he's done this past year, that whole group getting Luke back is a positive for us. But that was the one group I felt like we needed to, outside of those first couple guys, we needed those young guys to take a step for us, and they did.
Coach, in terms of the offensive line, I know the COVID offseason was really tough on those guys, big guys, in terms of getting where they need to be. How different do you feel like the offensive line is in terms of where they are conditioning-wise and strength-wise coming into this camp?
Yeah, well, just night and day. Again, you go back to last year, we did not get a finish of spring. We didn't get our normal, training post-spring. We didn't have a summer. It was just, you did the best you could. Everybody did the best you could, but there's nothing like, being together and the intensity and the competitiveness that comes with being in this environment when you're doing your training. We're just way ahead. We're way ahead physically. We're way ahead condition-wise. We're stronger, and we're just deeper with more experience. We got a lot more guys that I think are going to be ready to play.
Coach, do you think the vaccination rate needs to be a lot closer to 100%? And how do you encourage these other guys to go ahead and get it done? What are your feelings on that?
Oh, certainly. I've encouraged all of them. I can't. It's not something we can make them do. I'd love to see us be at 100%, and hopefully we'll get there. But we're in a great place, and I feel like that. The more we go, I think hopefully a few more guys will choose that route. But it's their decision, and I respect that.
Dabo, you talk getting back to these super seniors, these 6th-year guys. Last year we speculated a lot about where the glut might be or who might be impacted most. Have you seen any, like whether recruiting would take a hit, whether those freshmen or sophomores might not get as much development because you're going to have older guys back? Have you seen any of that materialize?
I have not.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge from a coaching perspective is managing your roster. That's the biggest challenge. We're fortunate, it's just kind of based on the school. This year it didn't matter. If you had 50 come back, it doesn't matter. They're all on scholarship and they don't count. But starting with this 22 class, if somebody comes back, they got to count in your 85. And so, we're fortunate because, we don't have a ton of seniors. We got a lot counting the COVID guys, but you have conversations with guys and kind of know what everybody's intentions are, and we have the ability to kind of project what we need to do in this class. Now that class of 23, I have no idea. I don't know, and none of these guys know. How can you go to a guy and say, hey, you think in 2 years you might take that COVID year? Heck, they're just trying to get through this week. It's hard to, that's the hard part from a coaching standpoint. Now, there's other coaches out there that are in a real bind in the class of 22. But it just so happens we're not for this class. But in 23, it could be a challenge, and hopefully it'll settle itself out by the time you get there. But it's much harder to project your needs and what your roster, to manage your roster, very different from years past.
What growth have you seen out of Hunter Helms from year 1 to year 2? Well, entering.
Yeah, well, confidence. He feels like he belongs, and he's done a lot of work physically. Had a full year now. He's gotten a lot of reps. It was a blessing for him to be able to get the amount of reps that he got this spring. Obviously, same thing. We were able to pretty much have the team with us most of the time last year, and he got a chance to really be a part of, the weekly prep, and he got to play a little bit. But I think the biggest growth came this spring, and kind of, getting exposed a little bit, and like, man, okay, this is a little different. I gotta be ready, and kind of see where he needs to improve. And then he's worked his tail off this summer, so excited to see where he is when we get back out there.
On the offensive line, who do you see right now that's first team center? Is it Hunter or is it Matt?
It's all the above. It's Bockhorse, it's Rayburn, it's Trotter. I think we listed them that way because I don't know.
Center as big as
I
Rayburn?
think, what's that?
Clemson center as big as Rayburn?
Yeah. We've had some big centers around here in the past. Cade wasn't no little dude. We've had some big guys, but Rayburn has really done a great job. Same thing, redshirt sophomore, 320, and it's a different 320. I think he showed up here at like 332 or something when he arrived at Clemson, a couple years ago. And just the transition of his composition, his strength, his knowledge. He's a much more confident kid. He's just one of those kids right now that's kind of got his chest out a little bit. He's got a little different stride to him. So does Trotter. Trotter ain't going to, I don't think he can get much over 285, 290. But, man, you talk about maxing out what you got. That kid is strong as an ox and a technician, and he can help us. So he's in that battle. But I think the biggest question with Bockhorse is who's the best five? We got a lot of guys that can cross-train, and if the best five means moving Bach, if Rayburn or Trotter's in that best five, then Bach can stay. I know Bach's in there. But figuring out, how that's all going to shake out, that's going to be exciting to see. And not just who's in the best five, who's in the best seven, the best 10. So we got a lot of work to do, and it's going to be fun to sort it out.
What have you seen from Will Shipley, and what's a realistic expectation for a freshman that comes in to kind of find his place in a pretty competitive environment?
Yeah, he's not like a typical freshman. It's pretty easy to see. First of all, he came in January, so he's going to be ahead anyway. But then just how he carries himself, he's a 4.0 guy. He's just locked in all the time, everything. He's going to win every sprint. He's not a guy that's going to, be respectful to everyone else and go, well, maybe I shouldn't win this sprint. He ain't worried about nobody else. He's going to win every sprint. And if you can't run with him, too bad. That's just his mindset. He's not a guy that's going to wait to his senior year to be a leader. He showed up here as a leader, and he's one of the most respected guys on this team already since he got here in January. Just his work ethic. Just a tremendous work ethic, and just how he carries himself is unique for a freshman.
Dabo, with Jordan McFadden, he's 6'2", most tackles are 6'5", 6'6", even 6'7" nowadays. What makes him able to play tackle, especially left tackle? Is it something about his other physical attributes that allow him to make up for that?
Yeah, length. He's got the length of a 6'4" guy. He's long, and then he's incredibly strong and athletic. Great technician, great fundamental guy. He's just a great athlete. So he can play any position on that field. Left tackle, right tackle, left guard. We've never asked him to snap, but he can play anywhere. But his length. That's the main thing. It's not always as much height. Sometimes you got some tall guys, but they don't have much length. But he's got great length, great athleticism, and then he's got unbelievable anticipation, fundamentally, and technique.
Dabo, how do you feel about depth at corner? Is that a position that there's going to be some battles going on throughout camp, or do you feel like you have two guys that kind of separate?
No, I think we got 6 guys that can really compete. I think we got 6 guys that are good enough to win, and that's a great feeling. I wish we had 8, but unfortunately we don't. That's the leanest position on our roster. Fortunately, all 6 can play. You know, it's at a high level for us. And you know, I'm excited about the competition and how all those guys are going to have to help us. You know, especially when you get in nickel situations and things like that. You got 3 corners on the field. You know, you don't have much on the sideline. So we've got those 6, and then we'll cross-train some guys to make sure we've got, you know, if we get to a 7th and 8th corner, we're probably in trouble anyway, but make sure that we have a 7th and 8th corner that can go do the job, you know. And so Makuba brings some flexibility there. Ray Thornton, Nolan could go and play corner today. You know, we've got some depth at safety. So, you know, I'm talking about emergency situations. And we've been there before. I remember in years past, we played Adam Humphries at corner. We played Ray at corner. You know, so just having a good contingency plan. So we're in a better spot than a lot of years because, again, we usually have about 8 or 9 guys. But we only got 6. But all 6, I really believe in.
One of the guys, Malcolm Green, played a lot of nickel last year, and he like he fit that position. Are you guys? Is he good on the outside boundaries?
Yeah, yeah. He can play anywhere. He's probably more of a field corner. He's tough enough to go play the boundary, but you know, he and Mario will kind of be those nickel guys, and they'll cross train at nickel and corner, and be able to you know, step in and do what we need to do. Feel good about both of those guys. That's kind of where we'll start, and then those other 4 guys will kind of, you know, be at home at corner. And then, you know, we're letting them all compete to be a starter, and then we'll let those 2 kind of cross train at the nickel spot.
Deb, I think you guys have 4 listed at Sam nickel, including Derek Carter, which I imagine is pretty rare for a summer enrollee. What are you hoping to see from him in fall camp?
I just can't wait to see his athleticism on the field. You know, I mean, he's a super athletic guy. He's a physical guy. He can run, but same thing I said about Tristan. I mean, there's a lot going on. We don't just line up and play 4-3, you know, cover 4 around here. There's a lot going on, and so how does he handle once it starts piling up, and you know, from a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint. But he's a guy that, you know, it's just excited to get started with him. He's going to be able to do a lot of things in his career as he figures it out. He's going to be able to do a lot of things.
There's always a lot of talk about adversity in sports and, you know, different things that happen. But when you think about the situation that Justin had and, you know, going through surgery and things, how did you kind of see him really, I guess, maybe grow from that situation or just deal with it in general, or some, you know, just not get really down about it?
Yeah. Well, he certainly was very down in the beginning. That's one of the toughest meetings I've ever been a part of, because I didn't know what was happening. I mean, it was just because it wasn't like it was some big injury, you know, and I really couldn't believe what I was hearing when they came into my office, and then, you know, getting Justin in there and his mom and talking through it, and listening to the doctors. I mean, that was a very tough day. You know, when you feel fine, but somebody's telling you can't do something. You know, it's one thing if you got a, you know, broken knee or something, and you physically know that you're not good, but when it's something that you don't see and you feel great, you know, it was a hard thing, I think, for him to get his mind around, and just what was coming, you know, because now you're talking about, you know, this whole season. He had aspirations, he had goals, all those things, and all the stuff that he's going to go through for maybe. But it was interesting because I saw him pick himself up. His mom was amazing. His teammates rallied around him, and he kept the faith. I mean, I think he's grown tremendously through the process. I think we all do when we go through adverse situations. I mean, literally, it either defines us or destroys us or develops us. And, you know, I think through his faith, he's allowed this whole process to develop him into just a much more focused, mature young man with a clear vision and a deeper appreciation, you know, for the opportunity. And just proud of him for how he went out and worked, because, you know, there was no guarantees, but how he just continued to put the work in every day, and how he served his teammates last year was just amazing. You know, we came with a great attitude every day, and you know, when he got in some, you know, valleys along the way, he just continued to pick himself up and get back going. So again, I think it's a process that he's learned a lot from. And I'm just, again, just thankful that there's doctors out there like Dr. Okonkwo. I mean, that guy's amazing. I met him one time. That was the day he had the surgery. And, I mean, it's been incredible, the journey he's been on. So just pray that he can get back fully and doing it the way he wants to do it, and can go on and have the type of career he wants to have.
Take about 2 more.
With Justin's injury and or not being able to practice and Brandon being out, is this going to give a guy like Troy Stellato a chance to jump in there real fast and see what he can do?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it gives us a chance with EJ and Bo. We've kind of got 4 starters right now at the receiver position, and so this gives us a chance to slide EJ over today, and Frank at 2, and then Ngata at 9, and then because that was something we wanted to do anyway. We really wanted to get EJ and Bo some work at the 2 and the 5. So this will kind of help us along in that, kind of speed that along. And then when Justin gets back, we can get EJ back out and get the 2 work, cross-train Bo. And then also, see where Stellato's going to be a guy who can play the 5 and the 2. We're going to ask him to learn a couple of positions, but he's one I'm excited to see because I haven't seen him yet. I haven't been able to put my eyes on him. So hopefully he'll be ready to go too.
What do you want to see out of Ladson? What's the
Availability,
yeah.
consistency. I mean, same thing with Ngata, ditto. You can put Ngata, Ladson, and Booth all in the same category. And if they're available, the rest will take care of itself. I promise you. These are really, really talented players, and they're knowledgeable, and they're passionate about it. But they just need to catch a break. And good Lord, keep them healthy and be able to be out there every week, and they're going to do great things.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay, see y'all out there.